a resilience to a natural brilliant state.
We're all here to move our Black communities forward.
We think our children have to have the best. It's all about discipline.
How are we going to discipline ourselves so that we're able to save, so that we're able to make good financial decisions?
Recognizing that there's a road ahead if you manage the road in front of you.
The decisions that you're going to be making today in your lives where it comes to money will affect you in the future.
Discipline is one of the things that we often learn, sometimes by our environment, or sometimes we're forced to do it, and sometimes we don't learn it at all.
Stores want to get us in and out and get our money, and that's it. It's a game, so you have to be really wise to the game.
Do you know what it costs to run your home on a monthly basis?
Land acknowledgement. As we gather together, we acknowledge the sacred land on which we reside. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, this gathering place is still the home of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations. Last but certainly not least, we acknowledge the people of African descent who were brought here against their own will or in search of a safe place to live their lives and raise their children. Reconnaissance des terres. En nous rassemblant, nous reconnaissons la terre sacrée sur laquelle nous résidons. C'est un site d'activité humaine depuis 15 000 ans. Cette terre est le territoire des Premières Nations Huron-Wendat et Petun, les Séniques et plus récemment les Mississaugas de la rivière Crédit. Le territoire était sujet de l'alliance de la ceinture Wampum plat avec cuillère, un accord entre la Confédération Iroquois et Confédération des Ojibwe et des nations alliées à partager et à prendre soin pacifiquement pour les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Aujourd'hui, ce lieu de rassemblement est toujours le foyer de nombreux peuples autochtones de toute l'île de la Tortue et nous sommes reconnaissants d'avoir la possibilité de travailler dans la communauté sur ce territoire. Nous sommes également conscients des alliances brisées et de la nécessité de nous efforcer de guérir toutes nos relations. Dernier point, mais non le moindre, nous remercions les personnes d'ascendance africaine qui ont été amenées ici contre leur volonté ou à la recherche d'un endroit sûr où vivre leur vie et élever leurs enfants.
This webinar provides illustrative information with respect to the subject matter covered and does not represent an official opinion or position of the Black Business and Professional Association. The BBPA makes no representations, warranties, or guarantees as to assume no responsibility for the content or application of the material contained herein, and especially disclaim all liability for any damages arising out of the use or reference to or lines on such material.
And it is another Saturday morning. Good morning to you and yours. Thank you for joining us here on Community Space, the financial literacy program that speaks the language of the community. And as we always say, it's not too late to tell a friend to join us here on Community Space, same time, same place, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Change will come if we wait for some other person. And we're going to try that one more time. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change we seek. And that was past President Barack Obama in regards to change. And because it is the autumn and things are changing, we're changing seasons, we're changing times. There's no time like the present. And to be prepared for change, we always have to be ready. And that's the theme for today. We always have to be ready. There's no getting ready for change. When you're ready, you don't have to get ready. So we definitely want to be ready as a Black community and as entrepreneurs and people within business. Staying ready, you don't have to get ready. Without further ado, we have a couple of guests with us here this morning. It's going to be an exciting session here on Community Space. We have our CEO, Miss Nadine Spencer. Good morning, Nadine. How are you this morning?
I am absolutely fantastic. Can you hear me? I'm absolutely fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on, Roderick. Just so you know, everybody, we had a meeting this morning at what time, Roderick? 7 or 8 a.m. 8 a.m. we started working. This is our input into the community. But I do want to share, Roderick, that I saw the Woman King. You know, I saw the Woman King finally, and there's a few things that I love. But before I start into that, good morning, Pat. It's so nice to see you. The birthday girl is coming up. So everyone, we have Pat Glowden on. Victoria, can you spotlight Pat for a minute? I want everyone to meet her. This is the awesome Pat. And Pat has been a strong supporter of the BBPA for so many years, right, Pat? Pat has been Harry Jerome chair, I think, co-chair or on the volunteer committee. Pat has done a host of things with the BBPA, and Pat also has a program called The Edge, and she's had a lot of great publicity and awareness over the last bit. But Pat, maybe you can come on a little bit. Are you able to unmute and just share a little bit about your organization and what you do? I know I'm putting you on the spot. I did this last.
Yeah, I unmute. No. I'm always ready. And fantastic. I'm always ready. Yes, we can't, like Roger say, wait for the change. We have to make the changes happen. And one of the ways we're doing this is by inspiring young people with little boys and girls, 7 to 10. This was the first year we had little boys, and younger and older kids, 16 to 19. We take them through a host of workshops to get them ready for the world. And I would always and continue to thank the BBPA for supporting the program. And anyone on this line who have not heard about it, it's EDGE. And you can Google us, edgeprogram.net, and watch our amazing website that was done by no other than Ms. Nadine Spencer. And even on Thursday, somebody says, what a great website. And I was proud to say where it came from. So again, visit us, edgeprogram.net, share the word, share the stories. We are inspiring young people and we are making changes. So thank you, Nadine.
Thank you so very much, Pat, and thanks for being ready. You see, Rod talked about a state of readiness, and we must always be ready to make the pitch, ready to talk about the work that we're doing. So back to my Woman King. So I saw Woman King, and there's a lot of lines that I love, but the one line that I absolutely take away is she says, "We must fight or we die." And I say that metaphorically for so many things, but the fight is the state of readiness, being ready with our business plans, being ready to understand what finances are. And so that's a big part of readiness. Financial literacy is such an important piece to the work that we do in the community. So if you haven't seen The Woman King, please watch it. It's absolutely amazing and so inspiring. So Roderick, as always, thank you for all you do. And I look forward to today's program. And Brendan, thank you also for being here. And I'm very much looking forward to what you have to share today. Merci.
And thank you, Nadine. And the next brother that we're going to introduce, he's been here in the past, but he always brings gems and a lot of wisdom for his age. And he's a serial entrepreneur. He's a coach. And just to wrap it up in terms of just being extraordinary and a symbol of excellence, I'd like to introduce to you and yours this morning, Community Space, the other Brendan Boyd. Good morning, Brendan. How are you? All right, there you go.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, everyone?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Roderick, appreciate you this morning, always, man. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a couple of months, man. Great to see you.
Absolutely, likewise.
Happy holidays to everyone in Canada. I know you guys just had Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago. We got ours coming up. You know what I mean? So just want to say good morning. I'm happy that everyone's here. Everyone that's shown up. Obviously, I assume there's gonna be more people popping in as we're a couple minutes after 10 o'clock. Funny thing, right? So I spoke to Nadine yesterday. We talked about me coming on and stuff, and I'm super excited, right? I keep forgetting that it's the time difference, you know? So like, I thought I was coming on in a couple of hours, but I'm coming on right now. So I just want to say I'm super excited to be here. I'm normally about 4 o'clock anyway, but I actually had something that I was going to put together for you guys. So I thought I had a couple of hours to put that together. But if it's okay with you guys, we're going to be taking notes in real time. All right. So I'm going to give you a bunch of practical information that you can implement. And it's not going to be anything that you can visually see right now, but I want you to stay with me, because if you got your notebooks, iPads, iPhones, if you're recording this, whatever you got going on, I definitely want to make sure that you have something to take notes, and that you know, these notes are going to be important, so you can refer to them after this is over, the next day and on to the next week. And they always say note takers are money makers. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to record this information, however that is convenient for you, because you definitely want to refer to this, by the time we're done. So I know that there are some people that have their cameras on, so everyone that has a camera on, I'm waving to you guys. Happy to see you. If you are in a place where you can turn on your camera, that would be amazing. It's always good to see the energy, and people want to see your smiling faces. So if you are able to do that, I would do that right now. If you aren't able to do that, maybe you're busy, that's fine too. Just want to make sure you can at least hear the information that we're going to share today. But if you are in a position to turn on your camera, I would definitely do that, because that makes you present and makes you more active, and you're going to be more in a position to receive the information and then obviously use the information. So I was talking to Nadine earlier, and I was like, what would you like me to share about? Because I got a couple different things that I could cover, obviously, from digital products to, YouTube, podcasting, just like setting up an online business, budget. And it's just a couple different things we could talk about. And she was like, well, I really want to kind of put the message across about, executing and taking action. And I was like, that's perfect, because I actually have a couple of things that I can definitely share. And I feel like this could be a great opportunity for people to really be able to leave here with an action plan and be able to take action, like as soon as today or Monday, like, whatever you have the opportunity to. So I want to share a quick story about myself, but then I also want you to be in a position to take note. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Brendan Boyd. Originally, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And all my life, I've been interested in just working for myself, to be just fully transparent. Like, even when I was in college, like, I literally only went to college because it's something that my grandmother asked me to do when she was alive. She passed away when I was 16. So I felt the obligation to go to school, right? I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for, but Nana was like, go to school. So I was like, all right, Nana, I'm going, So I remember one of the questions I had asked for her, like, when I'm in school, like, what should I go to school for? And she was like, go to school for something that you like. That way it won't feel like school, won't feel like work. So I actually went for English, right? So I'm in school for English, I'm writing, I'm in these poetry classes, I'm in these creative writing classes. And I'm like, man, what do I want to do? Do I want to, like, and I'm a big sports person at the time. So I'm like, do I want to write for ESPN? Do I want to travel with a team and write, like, do I want to write books? And none of that really, I didn't feel an emotional connection to me wanting to do that after school. I just assumed that, because I like sports and because I'm doing English, it was going to be something that, I was just going to put them together and be related. But I didn't have that emotional connection. Like, this is definitely something I want to do. So while I'm in school, I start my first business, which was basketball leagues in Boston. And I'm letting you know this because this is going to circle back to what I want you guys to write down and to pay attention to. So I literally just go like this. I have no mentor. I have no coach. You know what I mean? Have no mentor, no coach. I got no plan. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm like, yo, I'm just going to figure it out. So I'm going to just ask you guys in the chat, real quick. Have anyone either are you starting a business or have you started a business? Have you made some moves where you just figured it out? So if that's you, just put a yes in the chat. And that means like you was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna just figure it out. So if that's you, put a yes in the chat. If you made any decisions without coaches, mentors, reading, research, you was just like, I feel like I can do any of this. I'm gonna just make a move. So if that's you, put a yes in the chat. So I see Angela with a yes. I mean, I'm gonna put a yes now because that was definitely me. And it's interesting that I felt confident enough to do something, to start a business with no training, like no training, no background. I don't even think YouTube was a thing back then, so I wasn't on YouTube. I didn't know what I was doing, but I felt the audacity, like I'm gonna figure this whole thing out on my own. So fast forward, luckily, I was able to generate some revenue. I was able to generate some revenue because I thought about like, well, I've been in leagues before because I started a basketball league. I've been in the baseball leagues, little leagues, and all of that. I see these names on the back of these jerseys. Oh, these are businesses. So if I just ask some businesses where they sponsor some teams, maybe I can get some money that way. So I had done that. I charged people from coming into the basketball league. So I made revenue on the sponsorship side, and I made revenue on the charging for entry, right? Came in, I did a league, it was cool. Guess what? The money was mismanaged. There was no structure. I didn't put no money aside for taxes. I didn't have a P&L. I didn't have nothing to work from. But on the front end, it looked fine. Like it looked, the teams were playing. It was a successful on the surface. It looked like things were happening, but on the back end, it was a mess. However, I was still able to operate. Like I did another league and another league. I mean, this was going for like 6 years, right? This was something that people in the city in the summer times and in the winter times, they were looking forward to because like they were playing basketball. But behind the scenes, I was suffering because it wasn't set up as a business. There was no business credit. There was no business structure. I think I barely had a business bank account. I just didn't know what I was doing. And I know a lot of us sometimes we just start without groups like this one, which is amazing. I didn't have anything like this. There was no mentorships. There was no coaching. Not saying I wasn't available. I didn't even know to search for it, right? So I want you guys to make sure that you always leaning into, when this group comes together, if there's additional materials and resources, if there's guests on and things like that, because you're going to be able to take advantage of like all of the information that they share with you and everything that you can 100% learn. And all you got to do is apply it, take these notes, and avoid the same things that, some of the guests have, run into, or the speakers have run into. So fast forward, end up, blowing all the revenue that I generate from that business. My grandmother passed away. She left me, she left me a life insurance policy. So I think I had about, a little under $200,000, probably like $150,000, $160,000. And I took the same behavior that I had with this business, and that's how I operated that money. So, this is something I had shared with Nadine, and this is definitely something I want you guys to write down. So I have about seven steps on creating a plan that I wish I would have had back then, and I wouldn't have been in this situation. But I know it would definitely help you guys moving forward, especially if you have a current business or looking to start a business. These are steps that I wish I would have had back then. So that money that I ended up having, I ended up blowing it all on vehicles. Didn't save any money, didn't invest any money, didn't structure any money. So the money that she had left for me, because I didn't have no coaching, no mentorship, there was no family members in my life at the time, I wasted that money. I just spent that money on liabilities, not assets, right? So right now, I'm gonna share these steps with you guys, and I definitely want this to be super interactive. So if there's any comments you have, please drop them in the chat. If you got any questions, we can save them for the end too. But if there's things actively you want to ask, please ask them, because I want you to get the most value out of this, right? So these are the steps that I wish I would have had back then.
All right.
I'm gonna share with you now.
So I got the first question. So what
Go ahead, man.
prompted you to turn that light on? So after you recognized that you had pretty much blown that money, the
Yeah.
first set of money, and then the money that you got from your grandmother, what was the impetus for you to change something in the sense of what happened? What was the catalyst for you to make this transition to do things differently?
That's a good question, man. I think one of the catalysts was like I was just doing everything by myself. So I felt like I'm touching every part of this business. Like there's things that I innately feel like I'm good at, like when it came to actually marketing, getting these businesses to sponsor money, getting these players to come to the league. Easy for me. I was good at that. But when it came to like structuring, setting up a budget, knowing what money was allocated to what department, I was basically freestyling that, right? So I think for me it was okay realizing I'm not good at that, and then also realizing that account has 6 figures in there at one point. I seen the zeros, they ain't there now, so I need to make some changes. I need to learn something different. There's some information that I'm being ignorant to, or I'm just not aware of currently, that will probably help me grow this business or understand business. So I think innately those were the things that had me start seeking out some stuff. You know what I mean? So that was definitely number one for sure. All right. So number one, as far as taking notes, right? I want you guys to this is how I was able to create an action plan. And this is what has helped me moving forward. And I still use this right now, right? So number one, I want you guys to definitely write this down. Definitely write whatever you're doing. If you're able to write this down, or if you get access to the replay, that's awesome as well, right? But number one is just decide what you want, right? So decide what you want. So I wasn't really sure what I was doing or what I wanted. I just was like, I want to start a business, right? I just didn't want to work for anyone. I guess back then my idea was, as long as I am able to sustain myself or generate some revenue, that's not going to require that I have to work for someone else. That was success for me, right? But I didn't define specifically what I wanted other than me starting a business. So you guys need to be very, very specific, right? When creating an action plan, you need to really decide what you want, right? So be specific. What do you want? Do you want to start a business? Is it an online business? Is it a brick and mortar? Are you gonna be doing business with a business partner? Are you gonna be going solo? What aspects of the business do you need? You really just gotta decide. And when do you want to start? A lot of us want to start something and we're just waiting for something to happen. And that something that happened is going to be an indicator that, okay, now it's time for me to start. But I'm going to let you know that thing ain't coming, right? So you got to decide right now, what is it that you want? We got less than about 65 days or so left in the year. This is still a great opportunity for you to get started on your goals, build some momentum, right? And today's action plan can literally be what helps you do that, right? So number one, decide what you want. And you want to be as specific as possible. If anyone has any questions about that, please drop them in the chat, right? So be specific, be as specific as possible when deciding what you want. And you want to set goals for every part of your business and also your life as well. Because if you're going to be a solo entrepreneur, or if you're transitioning from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship, business is going to be your life. So they're not independent of each other. They're actually going to be very closely tied together, right? So deciding what you want, being specific, and setting the goals for your business in every part of your life, right? That's number one. Decide what you want. Number two is...
Can I jump in there real quick?
Go ahead, Roderick.
So sometimes when we come across people, they don't know exactly what they want because they haven't experienced that as of yet.
Yep.
So and then we have that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? But sometimes what you don't know, but you can learn. So how would you suggest to people, or what would you recommend for those people who are exploring, who are doing that assessment, who are doing that analysis, or that even an evaluation of what that business is going to be comprised of? How do they get to that space on, just beginning what they exactly want? Because I might want to start a shirt company, right? But I might want to ultimately just have silk shirts at the end of the day, but I can only afford, rough cotton at the beginning. How do I get to that position of just even putting the thoughts together on and declaring or defining exactly what I want?
So I'm actually excited that you said that. So number one, people aren't as naive as they think they are, right? So if I was to ask everybody right now what they want, right? There is something that you want, right? So everyone knows right now that there's something that you want. Now, you may not know specifically what that is, but you have a roundabout idea of what you want to do. So right now, I'm gonna just ask everyone in terms of business or something that you want to create, drop in the chat something that you want. Right now, for instance, Rob was talking about maybe I want to start in apparel. It might be silk shirts, right? But he knows that he wants to start in apparel. So you guys know that there's something that you want, regardless if it's not as specific. You might want to start a business, but you might want to start an online business, but you're not sure what online business you want to start. But you want to start an online business. So I don't see nothing in the chat. So I'm very surprised. Is there no one right now that has any idea what they want as far as business or creating a product or service, right? Chris says build a system that helps customers avoid online financial fraud. Now, that's amazing. Now, Chris may not know what he wants beyond that, but what he defined, what area his mind is going into. So what Chris literally wrote down is a cheat code for what he wants, because all he has to do is literally reverse engineer that question. If you reverse engineer that question and take that into YouTube or take that into Google, it will give you more steps as to how he could build that business. So if he changed that, if he just added a how to build a system that helps customers avoid financial fraud, pop that into YouTube, it's gonna give them some information. So you don't even have to know specifically what you want, but everyone on here, I 100% guarantee, has some idea of something that they want to build, start, create, what area and business that they want to go to, everyone does. Like, even if you think you don't, you 100% do. Look, Robert, online fitness and wellness business. Look at that. Everyone has an idea. Now, Robert may not know how he's going to do it. He may not even know what part of the wellness, but look, online fitness and wellness. Sabrina, complete a wellness brand. Bang, guess what? Now they can network and collaborate with each other. They can bounce ideas. Why? Because they put it out there. Now, going back to, let me see. Oh, okay, see, Jennifer says, starting a business in 2021 with nothing in my pocket, still struggling. We can get you right, Jennifer. Don't even worry about that, right? So going back to Chris, because I like what Chris said, right? Build a system that helps customers avoid online financial fraud. So number one, that's needed. How much fraud is going on? There's so much fraud going on right now, right? So then, Chris could think about what type of fraud do I want to help them with? Like if he doesn't know. So then we talked about being specific. So what type of fraud does he want to start fraud from a potential potential software? Do I want to start fraud from Amazon? Do I want to start fraud for like a Shopify site? Do I want to make a SaaS company to help people start fraud? Like there's so many different ways, but now that he defined it and he decided, he can now start chipping away. So this is great. This is great. I love what everyone that has contributed thus far has wrote down. So that now we have an idea of at least what category that we can fit in, right? So number two.
Let me ask you one more question. Sorry about that.
Ahead, man.
I'm jumping in.
We questions all day. Let's get it.
All right. So when you initially said you started your business and it was in regards to basketball.
This is like college idea execute. Because one thing about me, if I got an idea, I'm moving on. I ain't sitting on it, right? So this is literally the first business I've ever started. I was 20 years old, and it was, I see a void. And this is another way that you guys can figure out what you want to do. And these three things that I use. And Rod, I don't want to take it to the right without you fully answering your question.
Yeah, no.
Okay, but I just want to say this is a way for you guys to figure out where area you can go to. So number one, is there something that people ask you about, text you about, call you about all the time that you're just good at, right? It could be your skill set. It could be, right? It could be anything that comes easy for you, right? Everyone has something, right? You might be someone that everyone just comes to you to talk about their problems, but that could be your thing, right? So that means if everyone's coming to me for X, Y, or Z, that could be a business. So first identify, is this something that people always hit your line for, call you for, text you for, email you about, DM you about, right? Make that correlation. Write that thing down. That could actually be a business. Number two, do you know something in the marketplace right now that could be done better, right? Do you know something that can be done? The experience is mediocre. Like, it's cool, and it's all right, you know, but you know it could be better, because every time you experience it, you're like, man, how come it's like this? This could be better, but it hasn't been better. And you notice other people experiencing it, and it's not better. And then number three, is this something that you notice people are always complaining about, right? Whether online, you know, in the comments of, like, you know, when people give referrals on different businesses, or maybe you just hear them in passing in life while you're just living your life. Is it something that people constantly complain about? Though I wish it was like this, so I wish this was available. If you can answer one of those three questions, there's a business there.
Right.
There's an opportunity right there.
Looking for a solution to a problem.
Yep.
Definitely. Or even creating a technical problem that you can see in the future, and having a solution for whatever that could be also. The one, and I'm glad you alluded to this, in terms of, I guess, that interest that you just have, that, you know, that yearning for, in the sense of that business or that business idea, hopefully is going to be an extension for yourself. When you mentioned that you went into that basketball league, or created that basketball league, and you also were playing ball,
Yeah.
obviously it just was like first nature, right?
Yeah.
So something that you enjoy to do, right? And then I think that's very critical, in the sense of, if you're going to be starting a business, you want to have something that you enjoy, that's going to keep you, you know, yearning to get to that next step, and then, you know, curious and inquisitive of what you can bring to that table. So that interest should be something that is something within that realm of you as an individual. How important is that interest for you?
Well, it's a great question. The interest in you isn't as important to the solution of a problem that you're solving. And I don't want people to get that misconstrued, because what you want isn't necessarily what the market is demanding.
Okay.
There's a lot of times that we get you know, enamored with the whole, like, oh, I want to do this business. I want to make hats. I think hats would be amazing right now. But there's no one that wants hats. So you make this business, you want to sell what you want to sell, but your customers don't buy what you want to sell, because it's what you want to sell. You're not providing a product that actually solves a problem, or you're not using the three questions that I asked initially, right? What are people asking you for? What do they always come to you for? What is something that could be improved in the market? And what's something missing in the market? Those will tell you what you need to build and create. Chris talking about he wants to help people with financial fraud. That's needed. Matter of fact, that's $1 billion business. 100%. There's fraud. These frauders are getting very sophisticated. And honestly, like, governments need that too. So Chris could take that business, and it could be on the you know, on a regular consumer side, or he could turn it into a government contract situation.
So that's
right?
basically conducting a market study to see what's viable, what's what's required, and you know, just the ability to generate income off of that idea.
Yes, I want people to really understand, don't have your business be emotionally attached to something that you necessarily want. And but then also, I don't want that to be confused with, oh, if I love something, like, build a business around it, because it's two separate things. If you find something that you love, and you can build a business around it, 100% do that. But also, if you can provide a solution to what the marketplace actually needs and desires, and that then allows you to do something that you want to love, then you could do that too. Because some of us may want to just write on the beach, you know? Some of us may just want to write, chill on the beach, and travel. Now, you could potentially build a business around writing and traveling, 100%, but maybe you don't necessarily love that aspect, but, oh, I know that I can make a whiteboard better. This whiteboard can be better because if I write on this whiteboard, I feel like I can create a technology that literally everything I write on a whiteboard can be recorded in a note that can be transcribed and emailed you or saved, in a Google Drive in real time. That sounds like an amazing product, but that might be a means to an end of you getting on the beach and traveling and writing, right? So it's like, if you can build something around what you like, amazing. But if you notice that there's a void in the marketplace, you can fill that void with one of your ideas, and that then allows you to do what you want to do. That's important too. But that might be the thing that actually may do better because it's what the market is calling. Right now, right now, we're, I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the States right now, they're talking about recession, right? We had 3 quarters of negative, decline in the market. Now, right now, I know that just from that, it's like, okay, people are gonna be tighten up on their money. There's a lot of people right now in the States that don't make over, $40,000, $50,000, right? And at least in our community, and this is annually, and at least in our community, we know that there's a lack of financial literacy, right? So if you build a product around allowing people to access financial literacy, that's a necessity, because if you're more financial literate, you could be recession proof. It ain't gonna matter. It's like, okay, the numbers is doing this, the markets is doing this. It's cool because I got money coming in this way. I understand what they mean when they say the word recession, or when the media is speaking a certain thing. I know that that's just what they want us to listen to. That may not even necessarily be what's really going on. That might just be what they're pumping. But I understand budgeting. I understand where my money's coming from. I understand setting up multiple streams of income. I understand setting up money that I don't have to work for. So I'm actually secure. I'm good to go. Recession, no recession, I'm fine. So what's the solution there? So the solution is providing the information that our community could be more more suited and receive and actually implement the plan. Actually take some action on and not be just in a position with whatever the media is moving. That's where I'm at right now. Like, I have to move based on what they're moving. Nah, you 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, a year and ahead planning that you have this set up. And I'm kind of getting off of the whole action plan, so I'm gonna get back to number 2. But I read this quote and I think this is crazy. And this is something that I didn't know, but I wish somebody would tell me. So in the States, it's not even one of the biggest reasons why people pass away, but it's definitely one of the most promoted, right? There's police brutality, right? So police brutality on people of color, right? Our community, right? So the quote was, and it was from a white person too. The quote was, if everyone that was of color, right, had a life insurance policy, there would no longer be murders on people of color by the police. And I'm like, yo, that's actually ingenious, because if everyone in our community had life insurance, and if we were murdered by the cops, if that kept going on, we would become instant millionaires. Because having life insurance, if you have at least $250,000 policy, which you can get for probably, depending on the policy, anywhere from, $50 to $150 a month, that automatically transfer wealth to your beneficiaries. So if our country, knew that everyone in our community had life insurance, they would be treating us very, very different, because they don't want that balance of economic wealth to move over to the other side like that. They do not want us becoming instant millionaires. So they would be treating us way different. But we have to get access to that financial literacy. We actually have to know that, life insurance is something that we can use while living. It's not necessarily just a tool for when we pass away, but it can also change the economic wealth gap and shift it if we did pass over in life. But we can use it as a tool while we're living as well. That was a totally different topic, but I had to say that. But I'm saying that because what is that? That's a problem that someone can solve. It's actually a problem that not only someone can solve, but it's a problem that if someone was able to articulate it to our people in a very sexy way, that they can actually do more in terms of getting us to understand that we could use it as a tool to build on our economic wealth. Because generally when people think insurance, it has a stigma. Old, just for dying, I don't want to do it. Why do I need it? Like that's the stigma, right?
Right.
So if a young person was able to articulate it, or even, it doesn't even have to be young, but if someone was able to articulate in a way that it was sexy, interesting, fun, and they could actually break down the elements that were easy to understand, that's $1 million business. So it's just really paying attention to like, what are the needs to the marketplace? Like
Right.
that's what I asked you guys earlier when Rob was asking, like, how do you figure out what you want to do? You pay attention. What are the needs to the marketplace? What are people asking me, right? That comes natural to me. They're always asking me they're always sharing their problems. Well, maybe you could be a coach, you could be a therapist, you could be someone that just gives advice. You could charge for the information that you have. You could be a mentor, you could be a mediator, you know what I mean? Because they're coming to you for that. Maybe they're asking you for something specifically. Maybe every time you go to the supermarket, you realize that the way the carts are designed, it ain't really a good design. But you can redesign that, and guess what? All the supermarkets need it because they all got the same design, right? Or maybe it's just something that doesn't exist, right? It's just not there. And then you could create the thing that's there, and then now it becomes something that's a staple in society. And you're able to generate wealth on that. Whoever thought about Q-tips? I mean, Q-tips is not even the name of the thing. It's a cotton swab. But they figured out, I'm gonna make these Q-tips. I'm gonna make them different. I'm gonna brand the Q-tips. Now everybody calls it Q-tips when it's really a cotton swab. He solved the problem. That's $1 billion business. What about the person made a rubber band? What about the person made a hair tie? Right? They're looking at the marketplace. What about somebody that made a paper clip? They're paying attention to what is necessary, and they're building $1 billion businesses based on this, right? So that's how we start looking.
And it's interesting that you say that. A lot of the Black inventors came about their ideas and whatnot just based on a void and based on either solving a problem or doing something easier, right? And a lot of the early Black inventors here in North America, based on just the dynamics of either that was the chattel slavery that we were subjected to and whatnot, came up with these ideas, came up with these solutions on making life easier for themselves having to do that work, right? So out of necessity, it comes there comes ideas, and I think also a key function of when you're looking for that business is like your personality traits. So you mentioned that people coming to you asking you for solutions, or you bringing some aspect of resolve to an issue. There's usually a personality trait that's attached to that, because that's why they're coming to you, right? So not just your knowledge, but your ability to relay that or convey whatever that issue may be. So I think personality trait also is a key function of business, but also your skill sets. And as you mentioned that, like you should be skilled in that area of whatever you're going to be entering, right? You should have either A, the propensity, or B, the experience to have some aspect of bringing again forth this solution.
So I like the word. So I like the word propensity, right? It's a couple of things I want to do right now. If you've already gotten some value, drop the word value in the chat, because I want to make sure people are paying attention, that that you're not distracted by anything. I know that there's still some cameras that aren't on, but I want to make sure if you're getting value right now, we're just really getting going. Drop the word value in the chat. I want to see who's really paying attention. Secondly, I really like the word that you said, propensity, because something I want to add is, you guys do not need to already know what you need to do and how to do it. You don't need to know what you need to do and how to do it. If you're paying attention, all you need to know is, what are people asking me for and what do I see? And I want everyone to write the word yes in the chat, because between now and the end of the year, I want you to not say no to anything that has to do anything with you building your business. There's no no's. Or if anyone asks you, hey, could you do this for me? Just say yes. As long as it's not something that's going to take you away from your goal. I don't want you to be randomly saying yes, but I want you just to agree and commit to something, because you in agreeing and committing something is going to bring you closer to what you want. So I want everyone to with that word yes, I want you to commit that if someone's going to ask me something about some business to do, a service to provide, or even if I don't know it, if I just offered the service, I'm going to say yes. Because what that's going to do, that's going to force you to go out, get the information, figure it out, and come back and then execute the thing, right? You don't need to, you do not need to know 100% how to get it done. You just need a propensity to actually go get it done, right? So I'm Mr. Imperfect Action. I even got it written on my tires the other day. Like, I got a show called Imperfect Action Show. I want you guys to know the thing that's going to create the momentum for you is imperfect action. You don't need to know, you just got to accept the deal. A lot of us are going to rush to be like, okay, I built this, this is done. I have it all ready to go. I'm ready to get started. I done spent 30 days, 60 days, 6 months. I'm ready to go. But how do you know that's the thing that the market even wants? It's more valuable and better for you to go out and actually get the business. So you could, because if you go out and get the business, if you go out and get a yes, if you agree to get a yes, that means that someone wants it. So if someone wants it, 10 people want it, 100 people want it. But if you spent 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months building the thing, you almost wasted all that time to actually go out and get some business. Because if you can go out and pre-sell something, get some business, you know, okay, cool, I definitely got to get this done now, right? And you can give them a date on when you need to deliver that service. Maybe you need 90 days to deliver it, 60 days to deliver it. Maybe that money that you get is going to be enough that you can hire a researcher or a virtual assistant, or you could pay for an additional software. Like Chris is talking about, you know, and I keep going back to him because I actually like what he wants to go into. But he wants to provide, you know, the service to help people with fraud. There may be an engineer that he needs to pay for, that if he accepted a job, that initial capital, starter capital, or that initial revenue could be enough that he could pay someone to go or pay for a software. It could be a software that's already pre-built, that all he has to do is just add his things on, right? There's a lot of stuff nowadays that could be white label that's built up enough, right? That then we can just put our little custom spin on it, or we can add our way that we want it to flow. And we just build on top of something that's already there. They call that white labeling, and you just brand it with what you got going on, and you can provide that service to your community, right? So number one, decide what you want. And again, if there's questions, Rod, I love you coming in. But if there's questions, anyone have any questions, drop them in the chat, or feel free to come off from mute. So number two is something that you guys are doing right now, and that's writing the goals down. So again, even if you don't know specifically every nick and cranny, every detail, you need to get emotional with what you want. And getting emotional with what you want is writing the notes down. Now, getting really emotional would either be speaking them into your phone or into a recorder, or actually writing them down in a notepad. Now, some of us may be on the phone taking notes, like, you know, I take notes all the time on my phone, on your iPad, or even a whiteboard, or whatever the case may be. That's good. But there's also a symbiotic nature where if you take what you wrote down electronically and you actually write it in your notebook, there's just a connection that happens with your subconscious to you actually physically writing it down. And that's going to make it become like even more real, right? So you want to write the goals down on your paper. Now you want to get everything out, like literally on that subject. Like I think who we had, let me scroll down here. So somebody has said, and I love the commitments, right? So somebody has said, oh, Robert said online fitness, and Sabrina said what wellness brand. So I'm gonna use them for an example. Everything that you think about and know about that particular subject, I will write that all down, right? Literally just brain dump everything that you have in your mind on wellness brand and on online fitness. What do you know? Exhaust every idea or every thought that you have about that thing. So then you're just unloaded with, you don't have no more ideas about the thing and no more thoughts about the thing. Then you can really analyze and look at everything and be like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. I don't know too much about this. I can research this, or I think I need some help here. Like, you want to just get everything out, right? Get everything out of your head. And then when you're looking at everything, you can do like a little mini audit. What are the 3 things that you wrote down, right, that has to do with the thing that you want that actually need to be achieved right away? So number one could be figuring out what part of the online business online fitness, what type of online fitness you want to provide. Number 2 could be, like Sabrina was talking about wellness brand, what type of wellness does she want to create? Does she actually want a product? Does she want it to be like an experience? You know, does she want like sound bowl? Does she want to do breath work? You know what I mean? Does she want to do yoga? Like, what is it going to be? You know, so you're able to do that when you get a full brain dump, and you choose 2 or 3 things that you want to accomplish out of that full dump, right? So we got a question for Robert. What if you want to produce multiple things, products that fit into an overall major desire? So you have to start from somewhere. You can't do everything all at the same time. You can't have multiple things going on, but you need to have a foundation, right? Now, I always like when people ask that question, because it's like, okay, what's the thing that you really feel could get you further along? Or what's the thing within that people are asking about? Because you might want to write a book, have an online thing, have a travel fitness thing over here. You may want to have an app. These are all great things. You can achieve all these things. But when it comes time to generate revenue, because we all need to generate revenue, what is the thing that's easiest for you to create that can generate the most revenue? That might be offering an online class. That might be, maybe you have a pretty good network. So that might be, hey, offering a physical class on Saturday mornings or something, right? I would really think about what is the thing that can move the needle along and generate me the most revenue upfront. And again, once you identify that, you don't have to have the thing done. You just have to have the offer. So if you offer to this community, like right now, we have about 47 people on this Zoom right now, right? We only at number 2. If I was to say, anyone who's interested in having a one-on-one strategy session with me, right? Drop a yes in the chat. If you're interested in having a one-on-one strategy session with me, just even after the first 2 things or the time that we spent, drop a yes in the chat. Okay, what did I do right now? I just gave an offer. Now, this may not even be something that I'm actually offering, but based on the Zoom session, the market within the Zoom sessions is telling me I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're still coming in. I got about at least 12 minimum people out of the 42, which is a great indicator because it's more than 10%, which is 10% is normally the average amount of transaction you're gonna get when you put an offer out there. So this offer, I got way more than 10%, because 10% would only be 4. I got about, about almost 20%, right? So I gave an offer. Now I could be like, okay, cool. It looks like the market is open for me having some one-on-ones. So I can literally put the one-on-one together, right? Or I can do groups. Or now I can say, okay, who would like to take advantage of group coaching? Who would like to take advantage of one-on-one coaching, right? So you guys can do the exact same thing. So I gave the offer right now. So that would be the same way that you guys could send out an email, send out a text, speaking to another virtual community like I'm doing right now. Go on live and give an offer, right? Anywhere that you can get in front of people, make some content and post that, right? Give some value and then have a call to action, right? So anywhere that you can get in front of people and give an offer, I now know that there's people in this community that are open to an offer that would involve having a strategy session. But what if that product doesn't exist? What if I built the whole, I put the offer together and Nadine didn't even ask me to come speak, but I'm like, I'm gonna just have this done. And if she asks me, she asks me, and then I'm gonna say, I might have spent a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, and then never been in front of people to even give the offer. But I'm in here now, I'm giving value, right? I'm literally laying out a plan that you guys can take action on, and I gave an offer, and 20% of the marketplace minimum has said that they're interested in the offer. So that's how you guys should approach what you want to do. Go out there and see if the market is responding well to it. And if they are, now you can attach $1 to it, right? So if I was to say, if everyone has said yes, if you're interested, and I'm gonna just say a random number, if you're interested, it'll be like $199 for an hour. So out of the people that said yes, who is willing, and this is, this is not necessarily real, but who is willing out of everyone that said yes to pay $199 for an hour of scheduled time in the future to have a strategy session on your business, right? If you said yes, how many people would do that? So out of the people that said yes, so far we got 3, 4, 5, so 6, 7, right? So at least 7 people say yes. So 7 times 2 is what? What's that? $1,400? That's $1,400?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just made $1,400 pre-selling an offer that I ain't create yet. But all I did was give the offer. So that's why I want you guys to commit. Like everyone that said yes, not necessarily yes to my offer, but said yes earlier, that I'm gonna commit to saying yes before the end of the year and just doing the thing. This is what can happen. So basically, and this is a low ticket. I just said $200. At least 7 people said yes. I just generated $1,400. So now I can send a link out. I can get this money in advance. Now I have $1,400 that I just generated out of thin air, right? And then let's say I wanted to hire an executive assistant to kind of like fill these calls, or I wanted to pay for a software that's going to help you guys fill out an online form or put you in a CRM. Now out of that $1,400, I could take a percentage of that money, buy the software that might cost me $200. And now the software is going to allow me to do this business that I'm going to do easier. Or maybe if I was going to do the business, maybe this wasn't even a business. I was just offering these services for the very first time. The market's telling me that I could do this now. Because 14 people responded, plus minus. 7 or so people said yes right now. They paid me. So guess what? That means if 14 people said yes, half of the people paid me, more people would actually take this offer. This is just a controlled group. It is only 47 people. So what if I got in front of 100 people? What if I got in front of 1,000 people with the same offer, given the same value? That means there's a percent, even if the same exact percentage said yes, that's just more people that would take it because I'm in front of more people. So the math isn't going to lie to you. So you guys just need to have your offer, right? Let's go back to our action plan, right? You want to decide what you want. You want to be specific. You want to write your goals down, right? Now you want to brain dump it, write everything down. You want to choose at least 2 or 3 things out of that brain dump to complete. And as you're writing this stuff down, you're programming your subconscious to really focus on the thing that you want to do. And you actually made a commitment to yourself and to me that you were going to start saying yes more before the end of the year, because we're creating momentum going into the first quarter of 2023. We ain't worried about the holidays. We're thinking about the business that we're about to do, right? So that right there, and then you giving an offer, which is actually a bonus, but you giving an offer, the market is letting you know what they want. There's people in this chat right now that would love a strategy session. So if I got in front of more people and offered the same session and gave value, if 20% of 1,000 people responded, that's 200 people. 200 people times $200 or whatever. I just generated that revenue. I did the exact same thing. I just got in front of more people. So if there's a controlled group that wants what you want and you're going to pre-sell it or pre-offer it and the people want it, guess what? Now you know that you can build something around this thing, right? And that brings us to number 3. Number 3 is set a deadline, right? When are you going to put the thing together or at least give the offer? When are you going to give the offer, right? So we decided what we wanted. We wrote our goals down. We did a full brain dump, right? We got everything out of our brain around starting that wellness business, right? We got it all out. Now let's say we got 10 things on the paper. What are the 3 that make the most sense? You wrote those 3 down. Now, what's the deadline to when you're going to get these 3 things done? And when's the deadline that you're going to give an offer?
Okay. So on that note, here at the BBPA, we do a lot of different financial literacy programs and obviously entrepreneurship and then startups and whatnot. But one of the common denominators that we found, or that we also hear on an ongoing basis, is just, getting it started. That procrastination seems to be the killer of the most dreams in our community and keeping us back from just becoming the best evolved version of ourselves. So how do we get over that procrastination? Because deadlines are one thing, but then you're starting off. How do you suggest that we get around that? Because it seems to be, again, something that continues to plague us as a community.
Yeah. So who wants a procrastination hack? If you want a procrastination hack, drop the word yes in the chat. This is only going to be for people that actually want it. So if you want it, you're about to get it. So if you want it, drop a yes in the chat. This is a foolproof way to keep you from procrastinating, right? So we have about still 40.
I know there's more coming, my brother. I know we're gonna at least get that 10%.
It's all good. So we got at least 47 people here, right? Now, Number 1, everyone that's on here, is everyone connected? Is everyone in the Facebook group? Does everyone have each other's
Yeah.
contacts?
Nope.
Okay, so what we need to do, right, BPPA, what we need to do, we need to connect everyone. I'm literally gonna give you, this is how it's gonna happen. This is how everyone's gonna no longer procrastinate, right? So the first step is everyone needs to be connected. So you need to put everyone in a Facebook group or something, or you need to put everyone in Slack. Everyone needs each other's contacts, right? Everyone needs to be able to access everyone. Now, when you access everyone, you have the ability to access everyone, everyone should choose at least 10 people intentionally to network with. So that means choose 10 people from today's group or the future groups, whatever, that you exchange contacts. I'm gonna exchange contacts, number, email, Instagram, whatever. You're gonna exchange contacts. Now what did you just do? You just got 10 new people into your network. Right now, since you got those 10 new people in your network, what you want to do is start a conversation with at least 10 of them. See what people are doing. What do you do? What are you working on? Where do you live at? Maybe y'all are close to each other. Which really doesn't matter because everyone can go on Zoom. But like, get 10 contacts, start conversations with all 10. Now, out of the 10, choose one person. Choose one person, be your accountability partner. Now that one person that you choose to be an accountability partner, do a collaboration with that one person. Now you got 40 plus people that you're connected with in general. Of that 40 plus, you got 10 new people in your community. Of that 10 new people, you're gonna choose one person based off of what they tell you that you can do. Because maybe, like Chris wants to do the financial, and I keep going back to Chris, but Chris wants to do the financial fraud company, help them with that. Maybe I have the technology. So there's gonna be somebody within that 10 or somebody within that 40 that may have something along the lines of what you want to do. They could be already doing it, but they need your sauce. They could be thinking about it, but they needed your mix. So now you got everyone's contacts. You got 10 people that you zeroed in on. You at least made 10 conversations, right? Mm-hmm. And then of that 10, there's at least one person of the 10 that has something that has to do what you want to do. You're going to commit to not only make that person your accountability partner, but you guys are going to collaborate. And that collaboration might be on something that you're going to create, or that collaboration may be on some strategy sessions, physical meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever. And out of that collaboration is going to get you out of being procrastinating. Because everyone, I already know this answer, but I want you guys to answer it. So I already know that the chat's going to light up. How many of us, it's easier to commit to something somebody else asks us than it is to commit to ourselves? Drop a yes in the chat. If Rod, like Nadine asked me something, right? I showed up, I'm here. I was going to show up for me anyway, but there's some of us that may not be there if we didn't get to ask, because it's seldom that we will let someone else down than to let ourselves down.
Right.
Like, if I didn't show up, that puts Nadine in the spot, let's just say. But let's say I was just gonna go to the gym today and I don't show up. There's no one's gonna be like, oh, Brittany ain't go to the gym, right? It's way easier for us to have some accountability, make a plan with someone else, and then show up for the other person than it is for us sometimes to show up for ourselves. So if you could do those things, there's no procrastination.
Yeah.
And if you have an accountability partner that you didn't have last week, that person is going to push you to become a better version, because you're not going to want to let that person down. Now, you could, because I don't want you to think this is super easy and everything's gonna be great, but you do not want to make anyone that you're friends with or cool with your accountability partner, because they already know your situation. They know your habits, you know their idiosyncrasies, you know where they slack at. So y'all just gonna not really hold each other accountable. Y'all just gonna be like, yes, we're gonna show up today, and then not show up, and then the whole thing isn't gonna work. It has to be someone you don't know. And it's better when it's somebody that you don't know that has something to do similar to your business or your industry or what you may want to create. That's how you become procrastination proof. And then after a while, you're gonna build up, I like the word that Ross said earlier, the propensity to become who you need to be to do the things that you need to do. So I hope that was a good answer for what you asked me.
Yeah, I really like the fact that, you know, you go outside of your comfort zone and look for those people you could be accountable to, or like be based on like this patience often for ourselves isn't what we have for other people, right?
Yeah.
And again, if we're stepping out of that comfort zone, you know, as they always say, familiarity breeds contempt. You know, we definitely want to set ourselves up for success and being around different people and just having to show and prove for yourself is, I think, a great way to just make sure that you're going to stay on the ball and stay focused and get done what you need to get done.
So if you're listening right now and you want to be successful, drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a number 1 in the chat if you want to be successful.
Yeah.
Look at all the ones light up.
Yeah.
Now drop a 2 in the chat if you're willing to do what it takes for you to actually achieve the success. Now drop a 3 in the chat if you're committed to yourself. Now drop a 4 in the chat if you would commit to someone else. Okay, so if you would commit to someone else, that by default makes you commit to yourself. By default. And if that person is someone that's really going to help push you, you're going to become the person that you need to become to achieve the things that you need to achieve. The problem is we're not achieving what we need to achieve because we're operating from where we are, and we can't operate from where we are to get to who we need to be, because who we need to be is who we need to become. You guys want businesses, but you want successful businesses, but you're operating in the version of you today. And the version of you today has today's results. So if you go into that thinking how you think now, moving how you move now, operating how you operate now, oh, I want to do this, but it's 7 o'clock. Normally 7 o'clock, you know, I just lay back. I'm chilling. That's not the behavior of the person that you just told me that you want to be with the 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to become that person. But having that accountability partner will allow you to become that person a little bit faster.
And you know, it's great that you say that, Brendan, in the sense that when we work with entrepreneurs and in the sense of like starting up and whatnot, before we get down to the business, to the nitty gritty, we work on the mental, right? In the sense of preparing you to be in that mindset for success. And it's easier sometimes said than done, because what we know, and that's usually our go-to. And if we've procrastinated in the past, or if we've, you know, not followed through in terms of just making sure that we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, that's usually what we're going to bring back to the table, right? So setting people up for success happens even prior to, like, it's almost a pre-contemplation to your entrepreneurial endeavors, because you got to get ready. And this is the readiness that we're talking about in terms of right now, the change that has to take place. We call it a social makeover, right? A social makeover, or just even re-engineering yourself to be successful, right? And I think it's really an eye-opener when we see how many people are ready for business. But again, what are you willing to take on? What are you willing to do to change your dynamic to make that happen? So what were you willing to take on to change your dynamic? I
definitely want to make sure they get all these steps, because I know that's
all right.
I want to make sure they get these steps, but at the same time, sure. I want to answer that question, but I want to answer it in a way that is going to have the most impact of people that are here, right? Because it's about everyone that's here. It's not necessarily about me, even though I can tell you about me all day. But the question that Rod asked me, I want to ask it to you guys. What are you willing to give up to get what you want?
Because you got to give something to get something.
What are you willing to give up? Because you can't take your habits to be that person operating this $1 million business. You can't take your habits to that person that wants to take the family on the trips, because you'll be on these trips already. You'll be in Bermuda or Bahamas or Aruba or somewhere right now on a Zoom call. But if you're not, but you would like to be, but you're not because you haven't allowed yourself or put yourself in a position to get there, what are you willing to give up? Drop it in the chat. Who's willing to give up Netflix? Who's willing to give up these Halloween parties this weekend? Because I don't know how it is in the States, but Halloween started on Thursday. So that means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's people out there spending 5 days on Halloween, and they want business
and thousands of dollars on costumes.
But they want to start a business. But
Right.
guess what? They gave up on their business for these next 5 days because they out there doing this Halloween thing. Again, I don't know if it's like that in Canada right now.
Well,
That's
100%, 100%, 100%.
Thursday, Halloween party. Friday, Halloween party. Saturday, Halloween party. Sunday, Halloween brunch. Monday, Halloween party. Right? So who's willing to, maybe there's someone right now that's on here right now that has decided to go to a Halloween party tonight.
So, you know what? I'm going to put one of my brothers here on the spot. He's a video director. He does a lot of commercials. He's made amazing strides in terms of his business. And for those of you who don't know, his name is Dwayne Holness. Dwayne, are you with us this morning? I see you here on the chat and on the Zoom here. If you could take Dwayne off of mute, that'd be great, Victoria. All right, so Dwayne, before you got to the position that you're at right now, what were some of the things that you had to give up in terms of disciplining yourself and setting yourself up for the success that you've attained? And obviously, we won't even have enough time to jump into all the things that you've done within your business so far. But what are some of those things that you had to mindfully and intentionally give up to get to what you got to?
Oh man, definitely putting me on the spot here. But thank you for creating this space. I've been tuned in, learning a lot. But yeah, I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my entire life, and I spent a lot of time alone, really sort of perfecting the craft, not going out, not attending certain events or certain functions. It's a lot of time alone, and sometimes you question yourself, whether this is going to be worth it at the end. But you know what, it has to be worth it if it's something that you desire and you push through. So I've been fortunate enough to get so many opportunities, but it wouldn't have been if I hadn't put in that 10,000 hours. It's the hours that you put in perfecting that craft that's going to really sort of give you that outcome that you desire. So yeah. So giving up a lot is a part of the process.
And I like the fact that you said, there's times you're going to have to be alone, and say no. And sometimes saying no is the hardest thing to do for a lot of us. Like, if somebody asks you to come out or, to help them out or whatever, we're obviously saying, yeah, we want to be there for people, but sometimes we got to be self-full as opposed to selfish and be on our own, and in a sense of just figuring out what we need to get done, because as we know, time flies and it's the only thing you can't get back. And if you're not going to invest in yourself, nobody's going to invest in you. Right. So I think, we got to be not just the Lone Rangers in a sense, but we just got to be focused and know that what we're putting in, we're going to get out at the end of the day. But we have to be on that flex of, just focusing and investing in self, because the investment first starts in self. All right, Brendan, I know we got a couple more steps to go through. So I believe we're on step 3.
Yep. So we got to decide what you want. Write your goals down, set a deadline. Everyone already made a commitment to say yes to everything moving forward. Number 4 is going to be, right, we're making our list from our brain dump. So number 4 is making our list from our brain dump. What are the things that are everything that we thought about, that's attached to that idea or that thing? So if it's starting the wellness business, what's everything that we got? Get that all down, right? You're gonna make a list around that. Then we talked about, that's number 4. Then we talked about, from that list, identifying the 3 things that we may need to get done. What are the first 3 things that we need to get done to get this done? To get this thing completed. Now, sidebar on that, you want to put an offer out. So that's on the side, that's a bonus. Put out an offer, see if the market is asking for it. And the second bonus on that one would be, out of the 3 things that you need to get done, and when you put that offer out, what is the offer that's going to be the most relevant, right? A lot of us tend to start from the smallest amount first, but if you can make $1,000 from one person saying yes, $500 for one person saying yes, I would put out a higher offer to that marketplace. Because if you can generate more revenue on that front end, that's going to help you out more, because you may need to spend money on something to make sure that they're able to get what you need. Or you may need to spend more money if you're buying a service that's going to help you do the thing that you want to do, right? So that's number 4. Number 5 is you have that plan, sequence the plan. So what do I need to get done to do the thing? So I have everything down. What needs to happen first, second, third, fourth, fifth? So you have your list. You got the 3 things that you need to get done. You said you're going to give an offer. You chose what price point you're going to give that offer. Now, what's the sequence of what you need to do to put yourself in a position to get the thing done, put the offer out, right? What's that sequence looking like? Because 20% of the time, effort, and attention that we put out will give you 80% of the results, right? So what's the list? What's the sequence of the things that we need to complete for those 3 things that we want to get done, right? Next, we want to, number 6, we want to plan. This one's a big one. We're planning, right? You want to plan out your day, your week, your month, and in some cases, your quarter, right? So going back to our accountability partner that we're going to select, this is a great opportunity for you guys to do this together. Like, okay, what are we going to get done this week around what we want to do? So I might be like, Rod, listen, you said that you wanted to start this, start cutting hair. Let's say Rod said he wanted to start cutting hair. All right, cool. So I might be like, okay, Rod, you got this week, you got to contact 10 people to see if they need haircuts. Make 10 contacts. So however he got to do the 10, he's going to do it, because ultimately the weekly goal might be 10, right? The monthly goal might be 40. So the daily goal might be somewhere between like 1 or 2 people he needs to contact on the minimum. Obviously, that's very, very low, because you can contact, 10 people in 10 minutes probably nowadays. But you guys kind of get what I'm saying. So you want to have your goal. What is the amount of money you want to generate, or what's the amount of effort you want to put out there? And then you want to reverse engineer that. How much can I do in a month, or what do I want to accomplish in a month? What can we accomplish in these weeks? What can we accomplish in these days? And you also got to be realistic. Are you going to be someone that's going to work 4 times? Are you going to put 4 days aside, 5 days aside, 6 days aside, 7? How many days are you going to put aside that you can actually spend time on developing this, or working on this product, working on the service, working on this business? Do you have a 9 to 5? Can you put aside 1 to 2 hours after? Can you wake up an hour early and put in an hour before? Are you going to reserve Sundays for your family, so you're not going to do nothing on Sundays, but Saturdays you're going to make sure you get busy? Like be realistic. And if you really want it, because a lot of you guys said the 1, 2, 3, 4, like I really want to be successful. What are you willing to do that's a little bit uncomfortable that's going to get you the result? So for some of us, it might be, I'm going to go 30 days, no Netflix. And anytime I was going to watch XYZ show, I'm going to spend that hour or 2, researching or working on my business. Yeah. I was going to go to these Halloween parties, but Brendan just talked about Halloween. You know what? I'm going to say no today. And I'm going to spend that probably 3 or 4 hours, and I'm going to do some research. I'm going to start the YouTube channel. I'm going to open up my LLC. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to spend that time to do that right now. Right. So that's number 6, like planning out the days and weeks in advance, and then having that conversation with your accountability partner so they know where to check in on you. Right. So like I'm going to check in Rod. Hey, Rod, you made your 10 calls this week? Where we at? Right. You can really have that going back and forth. And then number 7 is
real quick on that. So
yeah.
You mean everybody's probably seen that sign behind you right now in terms of, how much you will have to make a day, a week, a month, a year to become that millionaire, right? So one of the things that we also note is that when you write that down, and I know writing it down is one of the big steps that you have and have identified, but when you write it down and you can see that every single day, it has an impact on you, just also keeping you accountable and keeping that front and center of what you need to accomplish and obviously achieve. So how important do you think that is? Like, again, that sign behind you right now, how important is seeing your goals in terms of, what you need to do today and tomorrow and, for the week and obviously for the year as a longer term?
It's extremely important, man. You guys have to romanticize what you want. Like think about if you guys are married, or if you have a significant other, or if you have if you have a son, think about that love or that connection or that feeling that you have for that other person right now. You gotta have the same feeling, emotional connection, same energy around the thing that you want. Right? There's no real difference, because that feeling that you had, whether prior to meeting this person or when you actually are with this person, right? You had to think about that. So you basically manifested this relationship. You manifested this marriage. You manifested this son or daughter. It's the same thing in your business. It's no different. Like, sometimes we look at it can't be the same thing. It's literally the same thing. I'm gonna tell you guys something that one of my coaches told me. You can make a lot of money with a little bit of time, or you can make a little money with a lot of bit of time, or you can make a little money with a little bit of time, or you can make a lot of money in a little bit of time. So you can spend a little bit of time and I just made $1,400 technically, and I could say in 90 minutes, or really, I made it in like 2 minutes, technically, if I would have gave the offer and then put a link down, right? But if I would have said the same offer and the price was $500 or $1,000, someone would have took it. Now look, if 14 people spend $200 and it was 7, right? If 7 people spend $200 and I made $1,400, right? What if one person or 2 people spent $1,000 and I made $2,000? I don't need all 7. I just needed 2. It's the same energy. I use the same energy. It was the same energy at 200 that it was at 1,000. So going back to this, right? You got to romanticize your goals, really get intimate with the things that you want to do. And it's great to have these reminders. Sometimes I even forget this is here, but technically it's subconsciously affecting everyone that sees it. Whether they're seeing it for the first time, they're like, damn, I didn't know it was that easy. Or they're like, oh, I thought about this, but I never saw the breakdown. It's putting energy into your wavelengths. It's giving you a visual. So you want to take this visual and put this visual in all the places that you're going to be. Are you in the car a lot of the time? Are you always on your phone? You can put on a wallpaper. You can put a little note in your car. Are you obviously in the bathroom every day? You can write it on your mirror, or you can have a little post-it note. This is whatever you guys want to achieve. Like literally whatever you want to achieve. And it's not as hard as we think it is. It's literally just math. It's math. So if you got going back to the $200 offer, if we had a $200 offer and 14 people were interested, but 50% of the people actually took it, I just need to take this and get in front of more people with it. So whatever money that you guys want to generate in a month or a year, reverse engineer that. Just reverse engineer that. And don't just assume or settle for an amount because you just afraid to ask for more. Like, proclaim more out there. If you want to make $1 million, make $1 million. If you want to make 2, put 2. If you want $1 million a month, write $1 million a month. The math is going to tell you the path to get there. Like, if you ask me right now, my path to getting $1 million based off of my offers, I could tell you the numbers. I know. But it's because I did the numbers.
Right.
So you guys just have to know the amount that you want to do. Some of us can't make the amount of money we want to make in a month because we don't know the amount of money we want to make in a month. It's literally that. We aren't making the money we want to make in a month because we haven't figured out how much money we want to make in a month. And all we have to do is write down how much money we want to make in a month. Now, if you write down how much, everybody should do that right now in your notes. You don't have to put it in the chat. You can if you want. But if you write down how much money you want to make in a month, and and the price of your offer, you just have to do the math. Divide that number by the price of your offer. It's going to tell you how many transactions you need to make that money. The math is the math. So the first time I made my highest month was I made like $45,000 in a month. And it came from a small amount of people because I just had, the offer was it was a good enough price, right? And a couple people took it. Like, if you had a $15,000 offer and 3 people took it, that's $45,000 from 3 people, right? So another thing I kind of want to throw out there based on the action steps. you guys want to choose a high paying skill or you want to skill up. So for instance, let's say the skill that you want to create is a high paying skill. Like, you know, Chris' skill is super high paying skill, or he can create a software and just mass volume sell the software, but that's a high paying skill. So he can get revenue pretty fast off of that skill based on the amount of people that he gives the offer to. But let's say that your skill may not necessarily be high paying. That's the other option you have, and that's called skilling up. So you have this skill, but what other skills can you acquire that will make your overall value increase? And now to the marketplace, you're at a higher value. Like right now, I know, and this is something I'm actively working on right now. I know that people's problems in business are brand awareness and generating leads. Everybody right now, maybe there might be one person of this group that may not have this problem, but 90% of everybody in the marketplace has a problem getting in front of more people and has a problem generating more leads. So what is that? A high paying skill. So whether it's something that you guys have decided that you want to create and you don't have necessarily, let's say a high paying skill, or maybe you do, but you still want to skill up. So what other things can you add that will actually go in conjunction with you want to do? And you just, now you're more valuable to the marketplace. Look at Amazon. Amazon done got everything. They got QVC now. They do live shopping on Amazon. They got podcasts now. You can get the product the next hour. You don't even gotta wait a full day for some stuff. You can literally get it the same hour. You know what I mean? They got community chats, books. So Jeff Bezos had the foresight to be like, okay, we're gonna put everything in this thing. We want everybody, they don't gotta go nowhere. We want to make it convenient.
Yeah.
They even got grocery stores. They got Amazon Fresh. So they're just adding on the skills. They're just becoming more valuable. So so he skilled up. So how can you skill up either in your personal skill set or how much more value you can provide in what you're currently offering that it'll just level you up?
Okay.
Right? So either have a high paying skill that you could charge for and then just get in the market that will pay for that. Because another thing, how many people have been on an airplane in the past 30 days? If you've been on an airplane in the past 30 days, write the word plane in the chat. I want to give you guys a quick little experiment real quick. If you've been on a plane in the last 30 days, write plane in the chat. Okay, Jonathan, been on a plane. Now, what do we notice when we go on a plane, Jonathan? There's first class, economy, right? Now, there's way more economy seats. There's not a lot of first class seats. But if they sold out of the first class seats, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very comparable than what they would make in economy, depending on the plane size. But there's always people in first class. Technically, first class generally is always sold out. So what does that mean in business? That means you guys should always have an offer that's premium because there's always a percentage of the market that want premium. So there's always going to be somebody that wants a certain experience that's just not the regular experience. So that's even with service. So let's say somebody was offering manicures and pedicures. Your regular mani and pedi is like $100, right? Because I mean, in LA it could be like $200. let's say the regular mani pedi about $100.
Don't give anybody no ideas on the chat here now, my brother.
All right, so let's say it's like $100. So what could be your first class? How could you make a $500 mani pedi or even $1,000 mani pedi? It might sound crazy, but what's the value that you could create around that particular offer? And you just had that available. So one Saturday, Friday night, Sunday morning, somebody comes in like, oh yeah, let me get that one. Because there's a segment of the marketplace that's not concerned about money. They just want the experience. They want the value, so they're willing to pay for it. Right? There's people out here buying $250,000 cars, $500,000 cars, multi-million-dollar houses, going on these crazy elaborate trips. They're not thinking about the money. Sometimes we're like, oh, I'm worried about how my customers spending money, so I'm gonna only charge it for this price. You can't count somebody's pockets. You don't know what they want to spend. You think that, oh, by charging little, I'm helping them out. But really, you're taking money out of your pocket. You're not making it easy for them. They might actually go to someone different. Rod, we talked about Rod with the haircuts, right, earlier? Rod might ask, so The customer that may not go to Rod may not go to him because his haircut prices are too low. They want the $250 haircut. He don't have that offer, so they're gonna go to someone else and get it because they're willing to spend the $250 for the value. So all you have to do to make more money in some cases is to have the exact same offer, but make one that's premium. Just make a premium.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right? Just make a premium. There's a burger right now that costs $1,000. They put Gold Flakes on it. The Gold Flakes from Amazon, I did the research. You can get Gold Flakes from Amazon for like $13. So you got a regular burger. It's probably good meat or whatever, regular burger, good bread, lettuce, tomatoes, however you want to put it on it, maybe some nice sauce. You lay it out so it comes out nice. Maybe it comes out in a suitcase. Maybe it comes out with, some sparklers. Maybe it comes out with, some flowers or whatever the case may be. And they just put the Gold Flakes on it. That's $1,000 burger. Someone's
that last a month.
It's gonna last 5 minutes, man. But it's literally what someone's willing to pay for the value. But if you don't have the offer, you're not saving them money. You're just allowing your customer to spend that money with somebody else.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah, you create it, people will come. And that goes without saying.
100%. So number 7, if we're taking notes, is select the most important goals that you want to complete each day. So everyone, you shouldn't think like, I got like 20 things to accomplish today. Choose 1 to 3 things that you want to get done on your list every day. Just 1 to 3. And if you knock out on 3, then get a couple other things done. But zero in on 1 to 3 and just get those 1 to 3 done. And don't give yourself all day to do it. Give yourself 90 minutes to do it. Because if you give yourself all day, it's going to take you all day. But if you give yourself 60 minutes, 90 minutes, guess what? You're going to figure out how to get it done within that 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah. And before we come to a conclusion for this session, I noted at the beginning of the session, you talked about getting up at 4 a.m., right? So, there's that saying that the early bird gets the worm. And obviously, you step on it early and you get it finished. How important is that in the sense of just obviously starting off at a certain time of day so that you know that you're going to be able to incorporate all those things that you need to get done?
Yeah, well, there's two reasons why I do that. One, I moved to the West Coast. So I have to get up at 4 just to stay relevant on the East because our country, North America moves basically on Eastern Standard Time. So I can't wake up at 7 because it's really 10. You know what I'm saying? So I have to get up at 4. It's just my mindset. So I could be relevant. And when you get up before the sun rises, it does something to you. And you accomplish a bunch of things before the sun even comes up. You're like, I just beat the sun up. And you're able to get a jump on your competition. You're able to get more done. In some cases, you can start your day earlier, which means you can spend more time with your loved ones or your family. You can make, calls to your family. You can have some research time. You could create a whole bucket of time that will allow you to do some research on the next thing that you want to create. And you can put like 1 to 3, 4, 5 hours a week dedicated to that because you're starting earlier. Mm-hmm. So I noticed that people that I look up to get up early. So I'm not reinventing anything here. I'm going to just copy Success Leaves Clues. They get up at 4. I'm going to get up at 4. The Rock get up at 4. Okay, I'm going to get up at 4. Kevin Hart gets up at 4. Okay, I'm going to get up at 4. You know what I mean? What's his name? Mark Wahlberg gets up at 4. Okay, I'm going to get up at 4. They successful. They doing something. They know something that I don't know. I'm going to just model and copy that. A lot of us is like, oh, I can't get up at 4. You can do whatever you put your mind to. So maybe it may not be 4 for you, but can you get up 30 minutes earlier and be productive in that 30 minutes? Can you give up an hour early and be productive in that 60 minutes? That's just going to give you more time. Jennifer says she gets up at 5. Can you get up 5:30? What if you got up at 5? What would you do with that extra 30 minutes? You just created an extra 30 minutes of time that you could utilize to get you to where you want to go, or invest that into an area in your life that you may not have been investing in, which could be working out, taking a walk, reading, meditating. That pocket of time, now you could be very useful in that pocket.
Right. And it's disrupting your comfort zone again. Like growth happens in discomfort, right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and anything we do, growth happens in that intentionally. Growth happens in that discomfort zone, and disrupting that, creating new normals, creating new goals and objectives for yourself is going to take disrupting what you do right now, because nothing comes easy. And then obviously for us to move as a community, it's going to take discipline, it's going to take regiment, it's going to take creating new values and new ethics for ourselves, just to put ourselves in a position to not necessarily only win, but to create new environments and change, period. And at the end of the day, for entrepreneurs who are getting into this and just starting up a new business, this is a major change that's going to happen in your life. And obviously we know it's not impossible because it has been done. And as Brendan was saying, when you look at best practices from other people that have done it, have gone before you, and then there's no such thing as recreating that wheel. We can remix that wheel, right, in the same sense. And a lot of times that's what we do, because there's nothing new under the sun. But there's enough sun to shine on everyone. And on that note, we're going to say, we're going to chime out for this week, but we're going to have Brendan come back next week.
I'll come back next week.
We're going to definitely have you come back next week to continue this conversation, because now that we've got these 7 steps, in terms of application and in terms of seeing them through, and how we're going to, get to that next stage, and how we're going to disrupt. And we encourage people to take a picture of the 7 steps that Victoria has put down in the chat for you, and start to apply them this week. It's great to have knowledge, but obviously until we start to apply them and put them into an actual process, it's as good as not having it, right? So we definitely want to challenge you and encourage you to take that step on and invest in yourself, right?
So let me say this. I just looked at the calendar. I have to take a flight to Tucson, which is the 5th. So I can come back on the 12th.
All right, we'll do that.
I can come back on the 12th, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what I'll do? The offer that I made earlier, which is actually pretty ridiculous because I would never even make this offer, but the offer I made earlier, if anyone is interested in getting that hour strategy session for that $199, I will 100% honor that. I would never, you would never hear me say that ever anywhere. But if anyone is interested in that, I'll just leave my email here, and you can reach out to me independently if you want to get that between now and the 12th. So now we can kind of get you to expedite those results. So I'll just put it here. I'll just put that.
And for people who want to see Brendan in terms of what he does, you can definitely check him out on Instagram. I know you've got obviously a very vibrant page, and then you post, and you've got tons of inspirational information there for the people who are following you, and obviously not just following you, but doing and putting that into action, right? So, 2022, and we're not even going to go say 2023 is all about the action, because it starts right here, right now, and you're disrupting your comfort zone and getting into that space of entrepreneurship, of true entrepreneurship, starts with investing in yourself. And that's what we're all about here on Community Space, is investing in you. And obviously for those people who are here in Canada, we know that the BBPA invests heavily into the Black community. A lot of what we were saying here today, Brendan, also happens within that business plan that the BBPA helps entrepreneurs out with, and getting to that next step in terms of planning again, because if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And I think in our community, we've, I won't say we've given planning a backseat, but a lot of times, as we know, things happen so quickly, and our days are full, and, we've got so many responsibilities, but you got to take the time to give yourself the time of the day, right? Because time's running, don't mind it, time's bound to get away. All right. Got
so
that.
I wanna just say thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys continuing to just being interested in having me come on. I always enjoy myself when I spend time with you guys. So I want to say thank you for the time that we spent together. I really want to make an impact on somebody. So hopefully there's somebody that really wants to grow their business, that really wants to become the version of the person that they desire to become. So if that's you and you put that 1, 2, 3, 4 I left my Instagram there. Definitely just reach out because I want to make sure that I'm able to kind of support. I want you to become the person that you desire. So if there's a business that you want to create, let's get that going. If you want to make $10,000 a month, let's make $10,000 a month. Let's not just, what I realized even on my own business, we think that, okay, it's just this one seminar, this one piece of software. Oh, I heard this one piece of speak. It's not going to be a thing. It's going to be the consistency of you doing a bunch of things and then you getting really focused and serious on the things that you want. So if there's one person today that really wants that, like, let's make that happen in the next 3 to 6 months and let's really see some growth. And then 2023 is going to be your year because I already know it's going to be mine. So it's going to be yours if you want it. So we got to leave the habits that don't serve us. We got to shed those as soon as today. And then if there's something you can say no to you that say no to that you agreed to do and you really want it, I would say no today. Say no to some people, but say yes to yourself. So I appreciate you guys. If you got a lot of value today, what would really warm my heart is if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm putting content on there really aggressively. YouTube is definitely something where you guys should be. My goal is to get 100,000 subscribers. So if you just subscribe to the channel, that's really just telling me that you enjoyed today's session. And I look forward to coming back on the 12th. And like I said, if you are somebody that wants to take advantage of that offer, just send me an email or DM me and we can go from there. But I appreciate you guys very, very much.
Thank you very much, Brendan Boyd. And let's give Brendan that virtual round of applause, showing him that we value him and we appreciate his knowledge and the gems that he's brought to us here on Community Space today. So on that note, we thank you all. And definitely, as we can see, the time coming up that we're going to be just scaling up our businesses and there's no time like the present. You know, we encourage you to join us here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Community Space, same time, same place. And it is the financial literacy program that speaks the language of the community. We wanted to say thank you very much to our sponsors, RBC and the Donald Reed Estate. Thank you for all that you do in our community. And we just wanted to thank you for making this possible also in terms of coming out, asking the questions, and we will build together in terms of the capacity. And as Martin Luther King said, we shall overcome. And this is nothing, there's nothing too big for our community to get over. And as we continue to grow, we not just do handouts, we give hands up so that, you know, we're pulling people up as we go along. So we'll see you next week. So don't forget to tell a friend to join us here on Community Space. Take care. Peace. Community Spaces, the financial literacy program that speaks and reaches the community. Are we going to be in a better place, or are we going to be still, quote unquote, behind the 8 ball?
Because of the historical disadvantage that our community has, we most times do not have financial role models. Without that, economically and financially speaking, we'll always be at the bottom.
Keep proper books and record, because the data drives the strategy and the strategy drives the profits.
COVID-19 sort of removed a veil. It's really exposed the structural barriers that our communities face.
These last 2 years, where there's been a heightened emphasis on the well-being of Black people, has influenced the influx of funds and opportunities. The time is now. How long is that window going to be open?
We'll see you next week. And don't forget to tell a friend to join us here on Community Space.